Chosen one, this message didn't find you by accident. God led you here on purpose. You've been pressing through a season that's felt both spiritually heavy and emotionally dry. You've known how to fight. You've learned how to endure. But now, heaven is shifting something on your behalf. You're entering into a rare, divine space where peace and provision will meet you at the same time. Not just one or the other, not just enough to get by, but a season where your soul is still and your storehouse is full, a place where your heart is healed and your hands are blessed. God is not just sustaining you, He's about to satisfy you. Let's walk through this prophetic word in 7 chapters so your spirit can fully absorb what's about to unfold. Before we dive deep, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because this message isn't just content, it's a divine confirmation meant for the chosen ones walking into their season of peace and provision. If your spirit resonates with this frequency, type 77 in the comments right now. That number isn't random. It's a sacred signal to heaven and the universe that you're in alignment, positioned to receive the kind of rest and resources only God can release at once. Not everyone will reach the end of this word, only those truly chosen to walk in this rare balance of spiritual calm and supernatural blessing. And those who do will gain revelation, clarity, and a deeper awareness of what God is unfolding behind the scenes. This isn't a one-time message. This is a prophetic blueprint, one that reveals more every time you listen. Revisit it whenever your spirit is stirred, because with each replay, a fresh layer of peace and provision will be unlocked over your life. You're not just stepping into a new season, you're stepping into divine balance. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. You've known war, now you'll know peace. Chosen one, for too long your spirit has been at war, not just with people but with pressure, not just with situations but with cycles. You've lived in constant readiness, always prepared to defend yourself, always alert to betrayal, always expecting the next wave of spiritual resistance. Even your blessings came with battles. Every breakthrough was fought for. Nothing was handed to you. You had to wrestle for it. You had to pray through closed doors, love through broken hearts, and believe through empty hands. You had to forgive people who never apologized, uplift others while you were crumbling, and keep going when quitting would have been justified. And through it all, your spirit grew tired, not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for too long. You've walked through rooms full of people who didn't know you were bleeding. You've laughed at jokes while your heart silently sobbed. You've held it all together when everything inside you was falling apart, and you did it without recognition, without rescue, without relief. But now the spiritual tide is turning. God is declaring the end of the war over your peace. The attacks that once drained you are losing access. The heaviness that once settled in your chest is lifting. The noise that once drowned out your prayers is being silenced. He's declaring rest over your soul. This isn't a fragile, fleeting peace that disappears when challenges come. This is unshakable, supernatural, heaven-sent peace. Peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. Peace that stabilizes your thoughts, slows your racing heart, and silences that inner critic. This is the kind of peace that wraps around you like armor, invisible but powerful. You won't have to fight to breathe anymore. You won't have to defend your softness. You won't have to guard your joy like it's under attack, because God is removing the triggers. He's dismantling the weapons. He's calming the storms that used to rattle you. The ground beneath your feet is shifting, from chaos to calm, from resistance to restoration. No, not everything around you may make sense, but something in you will feel healed, anchored, settled. Your mind is entering a stillness it hasn't known in years. Your heart is entering a rhythm it forgot existed, and your soul is entering a room where battles don't follow. You're not walking into more war. You're walking into wellness. The spiritual war was real, but peace is greater. And now heaven is saying, "Rest, beloved. The war is over. Let me give you peace." Chapter 2. The struggle for survival is ending. Chosen one, you've known what it's like to live on edge, to wake up wondering if today's strength will be enough, to stretch every coin, every ounce of energy, every piece of faith, just to keep going. You've given when it didn't make sense. You've sown seeds when you barely had anything to spare. You've tithed with tears in your eyes and worshipped when your world felt like it was falling apart. You've watched others overflow while you were scraping the bottom, and yet you never turned bitter. You stayed faithful. You kept saying, God will provide, even when you didn't know how. You trusted him in the wilderness. You followed him without a map. You praised him with empty hands and a full heart. But now, that chapter is closing. God is shifting the atmosphere over your life. The season of survival is coming to an end. That spirit of constant lack, of barely making it, of spiritual and financial pressure, it's breaking. You are not going to spend the rest of your life in just enough. God is moving you into overflow, into surplus, into ease, into divine timing where things begin to flow, not by force, but by favor. You've learned how to make peace without money. You've learned how to stay generous while lacking support. You've learned how to walk in excellence even when resources were scarce. And heaven took note of that. Heaven saw the times you didn't complain. Heaven saw the times you were down to your last and still gave thanks. That kind of obedience moves the heart of God. This wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The wilderness wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to train you, to build the version of you that wouldn't crumble under success. Because peace is not just about stillness, and provision is not just about money, it's about spiritual structure. It's about emotional readiness. It's about building the foundation before the floodgates open. Because what good is abundance if your mind is still anxious? What good is a full table if you don't have the rest to enjoy it? That's why God is aligning both for you. He's not just giving you money, he's giving you margin. He's not just blessing your hands, he's healing your heart. The season that's coming is not just about what you're receiving, it's about how you'll carry it. You won't be overwhelmed. You won't be burnt out. You won't have to trade peace for provision anymore. Get ready to walk in rooms without worrying how the bill will be paid. Get ready to rest without guilt. Get ready to breathe again. Because God isn't just providing, he's establishing. He's not just sending blessings, he's sending sustainability. You're stepping into a new atmosphere where peace fills your mind and provision fills your hands. Not one or the other, both. And this time it will last. Chapter 3. God is bringing provision without pressure. Chosen one, you've walked through seasons where the weight of provision rested heavily on your shoulders. You've stayed up late strategizing. You've gotten up early to make ends meet. You've carried the pressure to provide for others, to hold things together, to make it all work, even when you were silently unraveling inside. You've hustled. You've grinded. You've taken jobs just to stay afloat. You've done what you had to do, not because you loved it, but because you had responsibilities. You've walked through doors that were misaligned with your soul because necessity outweighed desire. And through it all, you prayed for peace. Not just peace of mind, but peace in the process. And now God is answering. He's bringing you into a season of provision that will not cost you your sanity. He's releasing a flow that doesn't require you to strive. He's opening doors that don't demand you to shrink, to overperform, or to sell your soul just to survive. This time, it's coming through purpose, not pressure. God is shifting the atmosphere over how you receive. No more begging, no more forcing, no more compromising your values just to get a seat at a table he never built for you. The resources that are coming will match your calling. The opportunities that show up will recognize your anointing, and the blessings you walk into will align with your rest, not rob you of it, because the blessing of the Lord makes rich and adds no sorrow with it. He's not just giving you provision, he's removing the sorrow that used to come attached to it. The world will tell you, you have to grind 24/7, you have to sacrifice everything to succeed, you have to fight tooth and nail to make it. But heaven is showing you a different model, the kingdom way. God is saying, I can prosper you without draining you. I can elevate you without exploiting you. I can lead you into overflow without you losing yourself in the process. This is divine provision, provision that empowers, not depletes. Provision that doesn't come with burnout, but with balance. Provision that doesn't make you question your worth, but confirms your identity. You're going to wake up and find that what once took all of your effort is now happening through ease. Not because you're lazy, but because you're aligned. Not because you stopped working, but because you stopped forcing. God is going to show you that His way still works. That favor can do what striving never could. That obedience is more powerful than hustle. And that peace and provision were never meant to be opposites. They were meant to walk hand in hand. This is your new season, provision with peace, prosperity without pressure, favor without fatigue. You're not being stretched thin anymore, you're being poured into, and from this overflow you'll pour into others, not from depletion, but from divine abundance. Chapter 4. You're being delivered from chaos. Chosen one, for too long you've lived in the middle of noise, not just the noise of the world, but the noise of dysfunctional environments, unstable relationships, emotional storms, and spiritual battles that never seem to quiet down. You've been the calm in everyone else's crisis, the stable presence in the midst of their instability. You've been the one they ran to, while draining the peace you were barely holding on to for yourself. You carried order in a world that was out of order. You brought clarity where there was confusion. You poured stillness into rooms soaked with anxiety. But over time, all of that chaos started to wear you down, spiritually, emotionally, and even physically. It felt like you were constantly managing damage that wasn't even yours. But now, God is stepping in. He's not just answering your prayers for peace. He's delivering you from the very systems and people that disrupted it. He's removing the noise, the drama, the confusion, and the disorder that tried to convince you it was normal, because it's not. That chaos wasn't part of your calling. It was an attack on it. And now God is saying no more. He's untangling you from relationships that were rooted in trauma, not truth. He's closing doors that kept reopening cycles of emotional warfare. He's relocating your spirit, not just physically but atmospherically, because peace is no longer a reward you get after surviving chaos. It's becoming the environment in which you thrive. What once felt familiar will now feel frustrating. What you once tolerated, you'll now feel grieved by, because your spirit has elevated, and peace is your new atmosphere. God is removing what distracts before He delivers what you've been praying for. He's clearing the space before He brings the supply. He's not just giving you abundance, He's making sure you're in the right environment to receive it, protect it, and enjoy it. And here's the truth. You can't experience peace while entertaining dysfunction. You can't rest while managing chaos. You can't walk into overflow while still carrying the baggage of confusion. So don't fear the quiet that's coming. Don't resist the separation that's happening. Don't panic when people fall away. Don't cling to what God is removing. Some exits are answers. Some losses are liberation. Some closures are spiritual cleanups before divine construction. The silence you feel isn't abandonment, it's realignment. The stillness you sense isn't emptiness, it's preparation, because you're about to walk into something big and God doesn't want you distracted. He doesn't want you drained. He wants you ready. And to be ready, He has to first remove the chaos that tried to convince you that you weren't worthy of peace. This is not just deliverance from people. It's deliverance from patterns. Patterns of tolerating too much. Patterns of staying too long. Patterns of surviving messes that were never your mission. God is saying, I'm making peace your home now, not your vacation. You're not going back to that cycle. You're not walking back into confusion. You're being delivered, fully, finally, and forever. Chapter 5. This next blessing will come with rest. Chosen one. You've had to fight for nearly every inch of ground you've gained. Even the blessings didn't come easy. You prayed for breakthroughs that came with back-to-back battles. You finally stepped into open doors only to find resistance on the other side. Every win came with a weight. Every level came with a lesson. And yes, you were grateful, but you were also tired. You've been functioning on faith when your strength ran out. You've been pouring into others with barely anything left for yourself. You've been waking up early and staying up late, not because you wanted to, but because you had to. And still, you praised. Still, you gave. Still, you stayed obedient. But hear this. God saw it all, and now He's shifting something. The next blessing coming into your life will not arrive like the last one did. It won't come through striving, it'll come through stillness. It won't be earned by exhaustion, it will be received through alignment. God is not just sending provision, He's pairing it with peace. You've always had to choose between peace and progress, between rest and results, between keeping your soul whole or reaching your next goal. But now, for the first time in a long time, maybe even the first time ever, God is saying, you don't have to choose anymore. I'm giving you both. This blessing is not like the others. This is the kind of blessing that meets you in stillness. It doesn't chase you down while you are running. It sits in the place where you finally slow down. This is the type of provision that doesn't wear you out. It lifts you up. It doesn't deplete your joy. It multiplies it. God knows you've been in survival mode for too long, that your body has been tense for years, that your mind has been spinning trying to anticipate the next problem before it arrives. But He's breaking that cycle now. This next blessing is a divine exhale. You're going to breathe easier, sleep deeper, think clearer, laugh louder, love stronger, because you won't be loving from lack anymore. You've earned your rest, and not just rest in the physical sense. You're going to rest spiritually, emotionally, financially, relationally. Every area that's been strained is being softened. Every place that's been stretched is about to be strengthened. You won't have to explain why you're not doing the most, because your results will speak for themselves. You won't have to beg to keep what God gives you, because what's divinely sent can't be stolen or sabotaged. This next blessing will not break you. It will build you. It will carry you. It will refresh you. It will remind you that God never forgot about you. He's been preparing this moment, setting the table, clearing the path, waiting for you to be ready, not to fight again, but to finally rest and receive. Because peace and provision were never meant to live separately in your life. They were always meant to walk hand in hand. And now they will. Chosen one, get ready. You're about to be blessed and rested at the same time. Chapter 6. You will be a safe place for others. Chosen one, nothing you've been through was wasted. Every storm that tried to drown you, every betrayal that tried to break you, every night you cried yourself to sleep, all of it was shaping something deeper in you. God wasn't just getting you through the fire, He was making you fireproof. He wasn't just healing you, He was transforming you into a healer. You've known chaos intimately. You've walked through environments where your spirit never felt safe, where you had to stay guarded, stay alert, stay quiet, just to survive. But through it all, God was cultivating something powerful inside of you. Calm, not just for your own peace, but for the peace of others. Because you've known chaos, you'll carry calm. Because you've known lack, you'll give freely. Because you've known warfare, you'll speak peace. Because you've known rejection, you'll radiate welcome. Because you've known instability, you'll become a foundation others can lean on. You're not just receiving peace and provision to store it. You're being entrusted to release it. You're becoming a vessel, a carrier of heaven's atmosphere, a light in spaces still filled with darkness. People won't just hear your story, they'll feel your story in your presence. Without you saying a word, broken spirits will start to breathe again just by being near you. That's the power of a life that's been purified in private. That's the impact of a soul that's been deeply surrendered to God. You're not being raised up just to flex success. You're being raised to host safe space. In a world full of noise, you will be the quiet. In a culture full of masks, you will be authenticity. In a generation chasing clout, you will carry Christ. You're not just a person anymore. You are becoming a walking sanctuary, a living altar, a divine encounter waiting to happen. People will come into your life and feel something they can't explain, and it won't be you they're sensing. It'll be the presence of God moving through you. Your provision will be a resource for the poor in spirit. Your peace will be a balm for the battle-wounded. Your joy will be contagious. Your wisdom will unlock people from mental prisons they've been trapped in for years. The safety others will feel around you is what you begged God to give you. And now, you are that answer to someone else's prayer. You're not just healed, you're healing. You're not just restored, you're restoring. You're not just at peace, you're carrying peace like a divine fragrance everywhere you go. And here's the best part. You will not be known by your old wounds. You will be known by your fruit. The fruit of surrender. The fruit of staying faithful. The fruit of allowing God to work on you when no one else could see what he was doing. Chosen one, you're not just stepping into a new season. You're stepping into a new identity. Not just as a survivor, but as a sanctuary. Not just as someone who made it, but as someone who now makes room for others to find healing, safety, and truth. Get ready, because the same peace and provision that God poured into you, you're now going to pour into others. And your life will be the evidence that yes, God heals, God restores, and God still makes people whole.